Canada, let's do it for the culture. Your music is our music. Relationships, let's talk about it. You trying to connect or reconnect? Canada, let's reconnect.
What's good, everyone, and welcome to ReConnect, the podcast. I am your girl, Big Mich, and what better way to kickstart this podcast by doing something a little fun. I'm going to be solving a Rubik's Cube today. Now, I'd like to believe that I'm one of the few people out there who can actually solve a Rubik's Cube. And the reason why I wanted to solve one today is because I wanted everyone in Canada to be in tune with what's going to be in store with this podcast. This Rubik's Cube right here is going to represent the connection of the culture and what I'm looking forward to. Okay. When I think of the word reconnect, I think about coming together as one. I think about connecting the dots. And one thing that I do see in the future for the Canadian entertainment industry is people to connect with one another and just do collabs, do music together, even to have discussions on this couch. That's something that I'm looking very forward to because each of the entertainers are able to let you into their world and let you understand where they're coming from. And that's dope to me, for people to speak on their personal lives and make it very relatable. That's something that I want for this podcast, and hopefully each of the entertainers can open up as much as they can. I mean, this couch is open to everyone, so hopefully we can talk about the juicy topics, the intense topics, and the fun stuff that you've experienced in your life. I've always been interested in music from as far back as I can remember as a child. I believe that music can help you to connect with your emotions, to help you to just digest everything through lyricism and even just the bass of the beat. And I think it's so powerful because on a global scale, everyone can come together and reconnect through music. So that's something that I noticed, and that is something that I would love for everyone to do. Just focus on music, and not only music, just focus on the individual or the entertainers who are doing very well in the industry and hear their stories and listen to the music and hear what they're speaking about, because majority of the time there is some kind of story behind it. So that's one of the reasons why I got into music. Music was always my outlet, and it was always my escape way through the world. Sometimes when I just put on my earphones, I feel like I'm just not in the room anymore, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people can kind of defend that. So definitely that's the reason why I'm very much into music. Now, fun fact about me, even though I was born in Canada, I grew up in Jamaica majority of my life. And growing up in Jamaica, I barely listened to dancehall. Almost anyone can defend that. If you know Big Mich, you know that I barely listened to dancehall. It's not that I'm knocking dancehall. As a matter of fact, fun fact, dancehall is actually... So hip-hop was actually born through dancehall, if no one knew that. So if you want, you can Google that. I believe Busta Rhymes even spoke on that one time. So definitely hip-hop was born through dancehall, and also it was definitely born in New York in the States. However, this is music, right? Everyone is into different genres, and one thing that I really like about hip-hop is that you're able to speak through the music. I'm someone who loves conscious music, so you would catch me listening to probably Jay-Z, Nas, Wale, Kendrick Lamar. Those persons taught me how to just learn through the music. I'm able to listen to these artists and basically Google the lyrics and learn about the world based off their wordplay. So that's something that's very fun for me. I even remember just bumping trap before trap was even so mainstream. I'm so shocked that trap is so mainstream now, but from high school days, I was listening to probably YG albums, and I was always just bumping to it. And at the time, it just seemed so tomboyish. And it's just funny because the world is just catching up. So one thing that I really like about Canada is that it is just so different and so versatile, and it's definitely one for the books. Like, if anyone, one thing for sure, when I just moved here, it was definitely a culture shock based on like what I was used to. But after a while, like, Canada is the place to live. It is so peaceful. It is so dope to live here. You know, growing up, it is so strange because growing up, I always was so into hip-hop to the point where I had like a girlfriend who was very I would say she had a slight obsession with Kanye West, and I remember just looking forward to school just to talk to her about the latest music and the latest publishes about Kanye West and what he has released. And it was just so dope that we can have like a legitimate like open discussion about just music, and it just seemed so poetic at the time, and we talk about it. Okay, so I've solved this piece and I've solved 2 layers. I'm just go ahead for these. As far back as I can remember, like my sister back in the day, I mean, my sister would listen to dancehall and hip-hop, but I remember when I was younger, she used to listen to a lot of Lil Kim, Trina, I mean some raw stuff. I remember there was a specific song she would rinse out over and over again.
Now tell me who on the with us. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. I bang and the and brain tank snitches.
And my dad caught it. He caught the music, and he was just so mad that it was so explicit to the point where he kind of broke the CD in half. So I mean, that's how explicit it was at the time, but I mean, it's just so mainstream now. Like, it's just a norm to hear like those kind of derogatory explicit sounds in anyone's house, and no one really cares for it, you know? Like, everyone just understand that it's just art. To me, hip-hop is art, and music is art, and R&B is art, pop is art. I think the answer is very obvious. I know that, you know, like I mentioned before, dancehall had some form of impact to hip-hop. However, I do prefer hip-hop, and I'm not saying I don't listen to dancehall. I do listen to it, but yeah, I just have a little soft spot for hip-hop. That's just my thing. One thing I definitely hope for is for artists to reconnect. And that is why I was so inspired to come up with the word ReConnect the podcast, because my main goal is to ensure that every entertainer out there is reconnecting with one another. I do not care about what's happening out there. I don't care about what big news is happening out in Canada. If you're going to make it on this platform, you are a part of the movement. You're a part of the movement, and the movement is to reconnect with one another. I love the fact that we can have open discussions about not only about the entertainment industry, but you can talk about different things that's happening in the culture, even relationships, even what you went through in probably Toronto, Etobicoke, Scarborough, Mississauga, Brampton, even, you know, outside of Ontario. Like, I like when people are able to discuss their personal lives, because it's very relatable. And if anyone feel like their personal lives are not relatable, trust me, it is very relatable. A lot of people can relate to stories. So I want to ensure that everyone has a story, and it is going to be told. You know, I like the fact that I'm able to have discussions with people and see where they're coming from and their train of thought. And it's beautiful to me that every single individual has a story. Now, even though I'm going to be speaking on music once in a while, that doesn't mean I'm going to kiss ass. I'm just going to tell you guys right now, Big Mich do not kiss ass. There is a very well-known, you know, radio host who once said it's either you're for the industry or you are for the people. And as much as I want to be for both, I'm leaning towards the people, because I am a big advocate for people who has a voice, and if I can speak on behalf of the people, I will ensure of that. So definitely I'm going to be giving as much information that I can that is going on in the entertainment industry. However, I am a big advocate for the people, and you know, if the people weren't feeling it, I mean, I'm going to back the people. They weren't feeling it, period. There's nothing that's being censored here. We're all one people, and we're gonna be speaking on matters that are probably a bit uncomfortable, a bit intense, but everyone has the right to speak on whatever they want to speak on. And this is the platform for it. ReConnect the podcast. Okay, we're almost there. we have solved a cube today, ladies and gentlemen. I have solved the Rubik's Cube. This is definitely a representation of what I'm looking forward for ReConnect the podcast. Just like how I reconnected this Rubik's Cube, I hope everyone can tune in and reconnect.